I had a guy come to a talk not too long ago where I shared this, and he goes, "Oh, I know what John's going to talk about: positivity and optimism
Yeah.
and negativity and all the things that he talks about, and culture and the stuff that I've talked about." Now, a lot of people are talking about those very things. I've been talking about it for years: culture, leadership, teamwork, and mindset, and so forth. And what's cool about this is it's very unique, it's very fresh, and now people are going to understand because after he left, he goes, "Wow, that was like nothing I've ever heard you say before. It's like nothing I've ever heard before."
Hey, welcome to another Coaching You podcast with the Coach Brendan Suhr. And I'll tell you, we are so anxious to get back. We have been planning our tail off for our events this summer in Las Vegas. July 8 and 9, Coaching You Live VIP event where we have the best NBA coaches, and a big treat this year where we have Brian Gorshin, the Olympic coach from Australia bronze medal team, an incredible coach. Will be leading their team in the World Cup this summer. And also, Ettore Messina, who's competing right now in the Italian finals, 7-game series with Bologna and Sergio Scarola. So, I mean, just fabulous, fabulous coaches, some of the very best in the business. But, as always, the teaching at that event is off the charts. And you can still sign up. But also, if you can't make it to Vegas, you can, from anywhere in the world, get our live stream, sign up on that and get it, and then you own it. And so it's like having your own personal clinic delivered at a fraction of the cost. So I think you'll really enjoy it. Again, the speakers, we have people from 18 countries outside the U.S. that have signed up so far. I think you're really going to enjoy it. On the 10th and 11th, at the Flamingo Hotel, we have our front office training camp, which for those of you that aren't in coaching or have been a coach but want to now move into the front office of a professional team or a college administrator, or you want to be a scout or anything that is on the other side of the business, you can come and learn from the very, very best in professional basketball, WNBA, G League, and NBA. Some of the very best are going to come and share with you. That's the faculty that we provide for you. I think you'll enjoy it so much. That is the 10th and 11th at the Flamingo Hotel front office training camp. For any information on any of our summer events, go to coachingyoulive.com, coachingyoulive.com. And to sign up, you can sign up right online and you're immediately registered into either of our programs or both. Tremendous opportunity for you to get better, which is always our focus, to get better as a coach this summer. So excited to have as our guest today, Jon Gordon, his 28th book. And I think when you hear him describe what it is, I think it's absolutely the most incredible book he's ever, written. I think it's absolutely the best thing he's ever taught, because what he's done now is he has given coaches and leaders and players a blueprint of how to be successful. His concept of a state of mind and how to elevate one's state of mind to perform is the best I've ever heard. This is an absolute must for coaches this summer, business leaders, anyone, but especially us in the coaching field. When we get back from this break, we're going to get a chance to listen to Jon Gordon on The One Truth. We're thrilled to have our longtime partners and friends at Dr. Dish Basketball on board as sponsors of the Coaching You podcast. Dr. Dish machines are undoubtedly the most user-friendly and advanced machines in the world of basketball today. Dr. Dish has completely revolutionized and reimagined the shooting machine to provide the best solution on the market. Join top programs around the world like Duke, North Carolina, Florida, and countless others, and upgrade your shooting machine to Dr. Dish. Dr. Dish machines are the best way to increase purposeful reps in your program to get players better, faster, while tracking progress along the way. Dr. Dish provides so much more than just your standard shooting machines with custom training, pro trainers, and coaches on demand, real-time and detailed analytics, and top-of-the-line drills and workouts. If you're looking to take your program to the next level, look no further than Dr. Dish for the best basketball training machine in the world. If you have an old machine that's just collecting dust in your gym, did you know that you can trade that in to Dr. Dish for up to $1,500 off and get a new dish? Make sure to give our friends at Dr. Dish a follow at Dr. Dish B-Ball on Twitter and Instagram for great daily drills, workouts, tips, and inspiration. Or contact us at drdishbasketball.com. Don't forget to mention Coaching You or our podcast for $300 off your purchase. Coaches, are you looking to take your game preparation to the next level? Then Fast Model Sports is the perfect coaching software for you. With FastDraw, build an organized library of plays and drills and create professional playbooks to share with your players and staff. You can also download over 9,500 free plays and drills from our Playbank directly to your FastDraw account. Looking for a better way to build your scouting reports and want to include video? With FastScout, build custom scouting report templates to prepare your team best for each individual opponent. Plus, did you know with the latest updates from Fast Model Sports, you can now include video with your FastScout reports and share with your coaches and staff all within the FastScout mobile app. The combination of FastDraw and FastScout is by far the best way for you and your coaches to create winning game strategies and effectively communicate them to your team. Over 10,000 high school and youth coaches trust Fast Model Sports products to help their teams reach their goals. To order, go to fastmodelsports.com. Use code COACHINGU15 to get 15% off any FastDraw or FastScout products. Remember, go to fastmodelsports.com. Use code COACHINGU15 to get 15% off any FastDraw and FastScout products. With my ultimate podcast partner, the legendary Hall of Fame speaker author, Jon Gordon, book number 28. Jon, welcome, my friend, to our Coaching You podcast.
Hey, Brendan, great to be with you.
Let me say this, starting with the Energy Bus, read every single book we, put out there and stuff. And every one of them, the good news is that when I finish one of your books, I say, this was really going to help me. I needed this book at this time really badly. And that's great. But when you allowed me to read the books before it's published, this one, man, this was deep. And this one, the one truth just bowled me over to the point where I hate to even challenge you on this one, because when you've done 28 books, I think it's your best one. I hate to do that to you, but I really believe it because it's different than what you usually do. But man, is it powerful.
I appreciate it, Brendan. It is different. It's unique. It's like nothing I've ever written before, but it's what I've been thinking a lot about. It's what I've been teaching for the past year. Since last summer, I was getting a lot of these ideas and insights and started teaching them to various coaches. I had a lot of calls with NBA coaches, NFL coaches, superstar NBA players, also some NFL quarterbacks, some college guys, and was teaching this to them. And they were like, wow, like this is the key. This is the key to mental toughness. This is the key to mental health. This is the key to high performance. It's about elevating your state of mind. It's about mastering your mindset. And I was sharing it in a way that people haven't talked about before. And so this is really something that people are going to get a lot from once they understand how high state of mind works, how low state of mind works, how the one truth is a part of that. It's going to make you like a Jedi in this world from a coaching perspective, from a high performance perspective, from a playing perspective, and even from obviously a living perspective. You're going to live with more power, more confidence, more clarity, more courage. And this is what it's all about. The book, as you know, is divided into 3 sections. I call it book 1, book 2, book 3 within one book. And section 1 or book 1 is high state of mind, low state of mind. And that's the teaching that I taught at 8 different training camps last year.
Wow.
And I never had more people, more athletes come up to me after this talk, sharing what I share in book 1 than ever. Like, they were coming up wanting to talk. It made so much sense to them. It explained why they struggled in the past. It helped them understand what they needed to do going forward and how to get to that higher state of mind. It was awesome to receive that kind of feedback, because they said, okay, I've got to write this book now, because I can't go speak everywhere to all the players, all the coaches, right? You can only do so much. So let me write this book so people can actually now read it, implement it, and start using it.
So when you come up on an idea like this, I know in the past you've been able to write books in a week or two, usually in the month of December, but this was a summertime thing as you're walking your walk of gratitudes every day, and they're coming into mind. And that's how my coaching mind always worked. I would think of things that I could implement, and I would walk, I would talk to myself. The neighbors would call my wife and think that I've gone crazy, and stuff like that, because they see me walking and talking. But now when you bring it, and you bring book 1 basically to some of your clients and friends, the reception's overwhelming. Did you already know what book 2 was going to be? The oneness and separateness?
I didn't really know exactly. I knew that as I was teaching it, when I started teaching it, and I was sharing high state of mind, low state of mind, then when I explained that it all comes down to oneness and separateness, that a low state of mind is when you feel separate, disconnected, divided, anxious, fearful, worried, cluttered. A high state of mind is when you feel clarity, focus, positivity. When you're in that zone, that's the ultimate high state of mind feeling and experience. So I understood I wanted to share that. So that made a lot of sense when I explained oneness and separateness. So then I knew, okay, if I have oneness and separateness and I can give all these examples of what it's all about, then that would make more sense for the person and the reader to give them practical examples of how it plays out, whether it's a traffic, whether it's your relationships, whether it's a high state of mind coach and a low state of mind player, or that coach now has a low state of mind and the player has a low state of mind. It's not going to be a good interaction, because you're both focused from a place of separateness and acting out of separateness. So it's not going to be good. Yet when you become one and your place of synergy and connection, and there's that commitment to each other, you're going to be in a higher state of mind together. It made so much more sense to be able to understand that and explain it that way. So as I was thinking about these ideas, then I knew, okay, I'm going to tell the story of high state of mind, low state of mind. Then I'm going to explain oneness and separateness. And then I'm going to explain in book 3, the solution to the separation. And again, it's all in one book. We just call it book 1, book 2, book 3 within the book. So I knew that. But yeah, I was walking, getting a lot of ideas, getting insights, talking out loud. Like you said, people think I'm crazy, but I'm walking. But I didn't write the book until December, when I usually write books.
Okay.
So I was basically thinking about it for a year, having notes, working with it, sharing it, answering questions. And I was coaching like a struggling basketball player in high school, a college lacrosse player, and talking to her. And then a young man from Army lacrosse, talking to him. And then an NBA player who was struggling, talking to him. And then an NFL player, talking to him. So it was like all these conversations when I would share it. And every time I shared it, I got better at sharing it, better at teaching it. And then when it came to write the book, I just had to basically teach what I was already teaching, but in the writing format. It's a little harder when you now have to sit down and actually write as the reader is reading, to know, okay, how do I want to convey this to the reader as they're reading it? It's a little different than just speaking out loud, because sometimes when you're speaking, you can pick up different nuances and make different points. But in writing, you have to be more clear and really precisely guide the reader along. So that was the process I had to do in the writing. I knew what I wanted to write, but I had to actually guide them through the process.
So as I'm reading it 3 times, I'm saying to myself 2 things. The young people, the Gen Zs, the kids your kids' age, even my son, the millennial, my daughter, the millennial, but also the professional athletes I know and coached, coming out of the pandemic. I think everything changed. Everything changed, especially the loneliness factor. and the lack of confidence and lack of relationships and connectivity and all that things that make your 4 C's that make things work. I think that really played into it. You know, the oneness and separateness, I'd never heard of put like that before. I'd always heard the oneness. It was easy to get. The separateness, man, that just jumped at me and spoke to me loudly.
Yeah, COVID was the great separator. In many ways, the pandemic was the great divider. And people did feel alone. They felt isolated. They felt disconnected. And it's why so many people struggled with their mental health. But it wasn't the pandemic. You know, my son struggled during the pandemic as well. But I never blame the pandemic. As I say in the book and in my teaching, it's always our state of mind. When your state of mind is low, the circumstance happens and it bothers you. When your state of mind is high, same circumstance happens and it doesn't. You rise above. You move forward. You're able to overcome. When your state of mind is low and you make a bad play, you're thinking about the bad play and you have all this clutter and revved up thinking and you're trying to fix something you think is broken. And now you have insecurity and doubt and a lot of thoughts in your head, which creates an even lower state of mind. And if you're in a high state of mind, you can make the same mistake and be like, whatever, next play, let's go. Let's go. Low state of mind, the ref makes a bad call and the coach goes off and goes crazy. High state of mind, he's like, that guy's a jerk. And he moves on to the next play, the next call. Let's go. So high state of mind, low state of mind. It's never the circumstance. It's never the event. It's always our state of mind. And once you understand that, you stop blaming your circumstances and you realize it's my state of mind. So we look at the pandemic and we realize that it affected so many people because they were feeling more and more separate. And so they became more and more anxious. The root for the Greek word of anxious means to separate and divide. And so when you're anxious, you feel separate, you feel divided. Fear divides. Negative thoughts separate you, weaken you, and divide you. Positive thoughts uplift you, encourage you, and unite you. With a team, negativity divides a team, positivity unites a team. When you feel connected, you feel powerful as a team, as an individual. When you feel disconnected as a team or in your relationship, you feel weak and powerless. So it all makes sense. So coaches are going to be able to read this book and go, wow, I see it from a team perspective. I see it from a player perspective, an individual perspective. I now know why their state of mind is the way it is. Okay, let me help them move from a low state of mind to a high state of mind. Let me make sure that I'm in a higher state of mind as a coach. Let me make sure that we're becoming one instead of separate. Dabo Sweeney wrote a great quote for the back cover of the book. He said, as a coach, my goal is to create a team with oneness in relationships, mission, and purpose. With the one truth, Jon has gone to another level in helping individuals and teams find greater confidence, courage, and power. And that's the goal, that you have more confidence, courage, and power because you'll feel more one instead of separate. But going back to COVID, yeah, it definitely made people in many ways feel divided because they were feeling separate. As a result of that, they had more negative thoughts, more anxiety, more fear, more worry, more doubt, more clutter. And then what happens is you think something's wrong. You think something's broken within you. And so now you're trying to fix it, which creates more negative thoughts. The key is just like a baseball batter who has a couple at bats, a couple of strikeouts. They're 0 for 4. Then they go 0 for 3. Now they're thinking 0 for 4 again. Now they're thinking a ton. And then what happens is they have more revved up thought, which creates more clutter and a lower state of mind. Yeah. And so now they think something's really wrong, something's broken, and now they go into this slump and they're trying to fix their swing. And we see this so often. And it happens in our lives as well as we're living our lives. And so I even use the example in the book about the guy on a date, goes on a date, says something a little silly or stupid, and the girl doesn't want to go out on a date with him again. So then he's now loses a little confidence. So in the next date, he's now thinking too much. He's in a lower state, loses his confidence. So what happens? Now he doesn't want to say the wrong thing. He's not himself. There's no connection there. That girl doesn't want to go out with him again either. So now he's like, man, what is going on here? Now he thinks something's really wrong. And now he's going to see a psychologist. When really you're just in a low state of mind. You got to get back to a high state of mind. And it's a funny example, but it's true. And it happens so often in life. And so I can't wait for people to read this book because as they read it and they see clutter and clarity, oneness and separateness, high state of mind, low state of mind, how to elevate our state of mind, what lowers our state of mind, it's really going to help them go, okay, I now see this world in a different way and I can take on this world with more understanding, more power, more confidence, more courage.
Jon, in athletics, sports, everyone talks about analytics, that the reason you win and lose, it's analytics. Coaching, I think the key is to take things that appear to be complex and simplify them. That is the sign of a really great coach. To me, this is the most simplistic yet profound thing I've heard in 50 years of coaching. This. I just can't believe it. I want to go apply for a job. I'm going to change my age, and I'm going back to coach again because I have the answers to the test completely. And I thought I knew a lot before. I feel like a dumbass compared to what I did know. And I worked with the best. And so this is, to me, this is a must for everyone because now they know how to coach. And players need it because now they know how to accept coaching, but more importantly, and if you have a bad coach, unfortunately, you're going to have some. He can't affect you. He can't affect you. Many of my best teams, the players said, we won despite Chuck and Brendan. That's fine. You know what? Because this is so powerful. Congrats, brother.
I appreciate it. And what's really cool about that is I had a guy come to a talk not too long ago where I shared this. And he goes, I know what Jon's going to talk about, positivity and optimism and negativity and all the things that he talks about and culture and, the stuff that I'm talking about. Now, a lot of people are talking about those very things. I've been talking about it for years, culture, leadership, teamwork, and mindset and so forth. And what's cool about this is it's very unique. It's very fresh. And now people are going to understand because after he left, he goes, wow, that was like nothing I've ever heard you say before. It's like nothing I've ever heard before. But like you said, when you hear it, it's like you should already know it because it's that simple and you feel like you already do know it. So it's almost like as I teach it, you're going, So I say in a way that actually it's almost a reminder more than I'm actually saying something that you haven't heard before, which is really cool because it's like sounds very familiar and yet you haven't heard it or it hasn't been put in this way before or put together like this. And so it makes sense and it makes you understand why you were in a slump. It helps you understand why you didn't perform well when you were in that state of mind. It helps you realize, oh, that's why this happened. That's why that happened. We were at dinner with PJ Fleck and my wife and his wife and Brian Slipka and his wife, all 6 of us. And we're out to dinner and PJ was giving an example, talking about something. And he hadn't read my book yet. And my wife had just read the manuscript. And so after he was saying what he said, my wife goes, oh, well, that's because the player's looking outside instead of inside. And so he has revved up thought and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you read the manuscript. And she quickly was able to quickly diagnose what he was saying going on through the lens of this and saw it so clearly. And that's what I loved. Like she picked it up like that and then saw it. And you'll never see life the same way again. And it's going to give you such clarity in your coaching, such clarity in your playing, such clarity in your performance. And it was just so funny to see her share that advice in such a simplistic way. So yes, simple, but yet profound. Yes. And that's the sign of a teacher, right? I know that's my gift. I'm a coach and I'm a teacher and I'm teaching you this so that it's relatable, understandable, and it will verify all your own experiences. And guess what? I kept saying to people, try to refute it. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where it doesn't make sense. And it kept making sense. They couldn't refute it. And that's what I love about it, is that it really is something that is going to be such an aha moment for so many people as they read it and understand. They're going to go, oh, I get it. Of course. And you know what? It's so practical because at the core of it, it is about building great teams. It is about having a more positive mindset. It is about not allowing negativity to sabotage you, but it explains why it all works and why mindfulness works and meditation works. It helps you understand everything. And that's what's really cool because now I realize why the books I've written over the years had an impact. It was because of the one truth, concepts.
PJ and Dabo are 2 people that coach that way anyway, but to them, it was even an affirmation and it's like the best play you use in the red zone now. It gave them the final thing that was missing from so many of us. And all of a sudden you go, damn, this is Now they'll all get it. All the players will get it. Before, sometimes we reach some, we don't get them all. But now this is going to get it. Now, the thing that I want to talk about, book 3, as I always do, I always give you my immediate feedback after I read everything. I was nervous because this one, you walk into a tough state. Then this is where you walk that line, but you always walk the right line. But in the one truth now, I thought the solution to the separation was absolutely amazing. And when I read it for the third time, I got it so big that it doesn't work without book 3.
I had to share book 3.
The brain as an antenna might be the damn best thing I've ever heard.
It's revolutionary because the brain is an antenna. It's not even like an antenna. The brain is actually an antenna. And once you understand that, that's going to transform mental health. It really will if people understand it and actually start doing research according to this understanding, because it does make sense. And as you read in the book, I explain different examples and why it would make sense that the brain is an antenna and proof that it could be. Now, again, it's a theory. We don't have, I say proof, we don't have exact proof, but I give example after example, which would prove the theory correct. But like in all science, we should study it. We should measure it. We should continue to do research on it. And I think the more we do, we're literally going to have so many more insights and understanding around mental health and why so many are struggling with their mental health. And I could write a whole book on that. That could be literally its own book, but I didn't want to convolute this book with that. So I go and I share the theory, the understanding, and then the hope is people will take that and then do a lot more research, a lot more understanding, a lot more writing around it. But yes, the brain is an antenna. You have 86 billion neurons in your brain, and every neuron has a transmitter and receiver on it, a little transmitter and receiver, which would make sense because the brain is always tuning into frequencies. We make sense of this world through our eyesight, through our senses, through our hearing. And what is all that? Vibrations and wavelengths and frequencies. And so you're always making sense of this world through an energetic reality. You're literally converting electrical signals, interpreting them in the brain, right? From the optic nerve to the auditory nerve. And you're literally now making sense of this world from electrical signals that we then map and then create a visual representation. It's wild when you think about it. So what is our world, Brendan? I want to go too deep because I remember I did this to you like 3 years ago and you're like, don't ever say that to me again. Because I went so deep. But that's what I was really thinking about. Like, it was an energetic reality. We're living in an energetic reality. So if you understand everything's an energetic reality and the brain is an antenna, then what's positive and negative all about? Well, we're always tuning into either a positive frequency or a negative frequency. And that's why positive thoughts are so important. Because when you tune into that positive frequency, those positive thoughts, you literally affect the energetic structure of your brain. When you tune into those negative thoughts and negative frequency, that really does affect the antenna of your brain. And you then have more and more negative thoughts. That's why we have downward spirals. That's why on the positive side, we have upward spirals. And so every day you're tuning into. So on a practical level, coaches, players, you got to tune each day the antenna of your mind. Tune stands for trust and truth. That's the T, trust and truth. Trust instead of doubt and speak truth to the lies, those negative thoughts that are always coming in with lies. You unite with love because love casts out fear. So anytime you get fearful, you focus on love and love will cause you to perform at a higher level. Love is more powerful than fear. And guess what? Fear divides, love unites. So the minute you focus on love and the love of competition and the love of playing, and you're no longer worried about the outcome and your performance and what people think of you, you will perform at a higher level. You've got to have your players understand this and listen to this and read this. It will transform their game because I've done this now with a number of players at the highest levels and also high school kids. And it's had such an impact on them when they understand this, right? They can tune their mind. They can actually focus on love instead of fear. And in doing that, it's incredible how it really impacts their life because these kids are so worried about messing up. They're so worried about not performing well. They're so fearful of not playing their best, of not living up to the expectations that they have. But you know Michael Jordan, what made him so great? He loved the competition.
Loved it.
He loved the battle. He loved to beat you. Yeah, he was not worried about messing up or failing when he was playing. He was too focused on loving the battle and loving beating you, and he wanted to destroy you. That was his mindset and approach. Guess what? We have a lot of kids today that are worried about messing up, worried about not playing up to the expectations that everyone has and that they have for themselves. And they're no longer loving the battle, and they're not loving competing. And it's why they don't love games. They might like practice more, because in competition, then there's a definition of how well you do. So they're defining themselves by their outcome. When they know that shouldn't define them. I'm not going to define myself by any outcome or performance. I'm going to make sure I love the battle, and that's all I can control. And I do that, you will perform at a higher level. So unite with love is essential. That's the U. Then there's N. Neutralize the negativity. And Brendan, I tell you this all the time, right? We got to neutralize the negativity. Gandhi said, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. So we got to make sure we neutralize the negativity that comes our way. And then we got to E, elevate our thinking. And that is optimism. That is belief. That is gratitude. That is focusing on your success of the day, not all the failures that you have. That is making sure that every day you're saying, I am powerful. I am strong. Brendan, you know my wife, Catherine, and I know you'll get a kick out of the story. A few months ago, she was complaining that she was getting older, that her body was breaking down, that she was sore all the time. She's not going to be like she was when she was younger. I'm like, honey, what are you talking about? You're only 55 years old. Come on. And she was being so negative. I go away for a speaking engagement. I was gone for 2 days. I got to admit, I was happy to be gone those 2 days. And so I come back, and now she's bouncing off the walls. She's excited. She is energized. She is happy. She's like feeling great. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, what have you done with my wife? And then I said, did you find a boyfriend or something? She's like, no. She's like, I just had that talk with the health coach, and I did that testing. It's an intensive testing where they test your genes, your blood work, and your DNA. Like, they test everything. Wow. And the health coach said, this is really rare. We don't see this often. This is unique. You have the genes of an Olympic athlete, is what they told Catherine. No. You have the genes of an Olympic athlete. So now she's walking around the house going, I am an Olympic athlete. I am an Olympic athlete. You want to play tennis tomorrow? I'll crush you because I'm an Olympic athlete. My kids were really good athletes growing up, and she would always say, oh, they got my superior genes. I was like, honey, you didn't even play sports in high school. I played Division I lacrosse. What are you talking about taking credit for? But now she's taking credit for the rest of our life because she's saying she's an Olympic athlete. So
that's awesome.
The cool story about this, the cool part of the story is the soreness goes away. The pain goes away. She stops being negative. She's now saying, I am powerful. I am strong. She's speaking life. She's speaking words of encouragement. And the words you say, because you're tuning into a frequency, lifts your antenna up, lifts your frequency, lifts your energy up. And now you start to perform at a higher state. You start living at a higher state. Like, this is the real stuff that makes you great. And so she transformed her thinking, and now she's working out harder. She's stronger. She's more fit. She looks amazing right now, and she's living a different life. Complete change from just a few months ago by changing her thinking. So we got to elevate our thinking. Tune, trust and truth, unite with love, neutralize the negativity, elevate your thinking. The book shares more and more about that. I want people to read it so they can elevate their thinking. And last night, there's like a Cowboys coaching staff. I was Zooming with them last year as I was teaching it to them. They said, Jon, how can we help our players have a higher state of mind? I said, first and foremost, you have to have a higher state of mind. Mm-hmm. I said, if you want your players to have it, you have to have it. If you have a higher state of mind, you'll have more clarity, and that will help them have a higher state of mind. So make sure you focus on you first.
And along with that clarity, then you get the confidence, and then you get courage. And I think the missing thing I see with our college coaching friends, they're so darn worried about the portal, kids transferring. You can't coach with fear. You have to coach from truthfulness and courage. You will be a much better coach. Jon, you're making it too simple for us. You're making it too damn simple, buddy. This is the best thing I've read in years. And I hate to say that because all of your books are incredible. But this is something that I think is special. As a summer read for a coach, you must do it. I mean, you owe it to yourself, but more importantly, to hell with you. You owe it to your players. You owe it to them because they're the beneficiaries of your coaching. It's not about you. It's about your players. Thank you, brother. I mean, that is incredible.
Thank you, Brendan. Yeah, what I loved about sharing all last summer was all the coaches I shared it with, NFL, NBA coaches, some of obviously who you know are friends of both of ours. It was like really cool to see them have the light bulb moment. And what they loved most about it was they wanted to help their players with it.
Yeah.
Like you said, you don't just read this for you. You read this so you can be better for your players. And then you share the teachings with them and help them understand it and help them live it. And as we all do that, we're all going to get better because of it. It is special. I don't feel like it came from me. I mean, I really believe like I was getting these revelations as I was walking and these ideas were just coming to me. And then when I was able to put it together, I knew this is something rare, unique, and different. Energy Bus was like that years ago. It had something unique and different that was at one level because it really changed the way a lot of people coached and led. And, came out in 2007. I feel like this is like, that was my beginning then, and this is my new beginning now. But what I love is it still allows me to share all the other principles I was sharing. Now I'm able to share the essence and the core behind it. And that's the thing. This is not going to make you have to live differently. It's just going to make you live better and understand things a lot differently. And it's going to make you more powerful as you go forward. So yeah, I think it's special. I think it's different. I think it's unique. It is profound. But again, I can't wait to hear back from coaches as they read it, how it helps them and their understanding and what they do going forward with it. Just like the part of oneness, like, all right, we need to be one team. How we work to get our team more united and connected to become one instead of divided. Coaches know that's important, but now you'll really know why it's important as you do it and go forward.
Every coach in every single sport wants to come up with a play that wins the game. It's just what we do. That's why we coach. We try to take players where they can't take themselves. The one truth is the play you need. It's the best that I've seen. I don't care what sport you're coaching. The one truth is the play for your team. Jon, where can our coaches and players, where can they get the one truth? And when does it come out? What is our launch exact date?
The launch date is June 27th. Can't wait. It's like you got this thing that you've been waiting for forever to get out there, and now it's finally coming out. So I'm so excited. June 27th, you can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the bookstores, or at Get One Truth. That's GetOneTruth.com. And we have a free action plan and a lot of free resources when you sign up and get the book now. Order it, buy it, and then get the free resources, especially the action plan and the different resources like Tune, Whole. And if you're someone who wants to add more power to your life, there's another resource in there as well. I'm going to surprise you with it. I'm not going to tell you what it is now. GetOneTruth.com.
The surprise is powerful. That's all I'll say. It is very powerful. And that's all I'll say. I'm a believer in the last one that you did, that surprise one. It's really good. Jon, thank you again, my friend, and good luck. This is going to be very, very special.